We all agreed on Claire Dunphy a long time ago. The control freak, the uptight one, the fun police, the mum, white-knuckling the steering wheel of a family full of people who just want to relax. Phil's the dreamer, Claire's the brakes. She's tense, she's competitive, she's a little much. And the show hands you a glass of wine joke every time she gets like that, so you laugh and you move on. But what if I told you the control was never about control? That every micromanaged Halloween and every color-coded schedule and every glass of mommy's juice was the sound of a brilliant, ambitious woman quietly grieving the person she was supposed to become and white-knuckling her way through the fear that it was already too late. And it's not even close. Let me walk you through it. Start with the fact the show mentions and then mostly forgets. Before any of this, before the minivan, before the PTA, before she was somebody's tense mother, Claire was a career woman, driven, sharp, ambitious in a way that had somewhere to go, and then she stopped. She stepped out of the working world to raise 3 kids, and she handed in the version of herself that had a title and a paycheck and a future that was hers. So ask the question nobody in that family ever asks out loud. Where does all of that go? You don't get to be that smart, that competitive, that hungry, and then just switch it off because the job changed to mom. That engine doesn't turn off. It just loses its track. So what does Claire do with a CEO's brain and no company to run? She runs the only thing she's allowed to run. The house, the schedule, the kids, the neighbors. She turns a household into a corporation because it's the only place left to put a drive that had nowhere else to go. And then we call her a control freak for it. Like the control is the disease. The control isn't the disease. The control is what ambition looks like when you cage it. Now here's where it gets genuinely dark, and the show is brave enough to actually name this one. Claire became her father. Think about Jay, controlling, competitive, withholding, hard to please, quick with a cutting remark, stingy with praise. Now think about Claire. It's the same person. She spent her whole childhood under a cold, exacting dad, craving an approval he rationed out like it cost him something, and she grew up and became him. Same need to be right, same need to win, same trouble just saying the warm thing out loud. And here's the part that should stop you cold. That means Claire does to her own kids a version of what Jay did to her. The pressure, the high bar, the love that sometimes arrives disguised as a correction. She married Phil, the warmest, silliest, most openly loving man she could find, the literal opposite of her father, like a rebellion against everything Jay was. And then, under stress, she reaches for the only management style she was ever taught, his. You can run as far as you want from the parent who shaped you. Sometimes you still wake up one day using their voice. That's not comedy. That's a woman fighting a current she didn't choose and losing ground she didn't know she was standing on. And about that wine. Let's actually look at the joke we've been laughing at for 11 seasons. The running gag where Claire needs a drink, pours a big glass, jokes about getting through the day. Mommy's juice. It's funny, it's relatable, and it is. If you say it plainly, a stressed, understimulated, overwhelmed woman reaching for a bottle to take the edge off a life that's quietly grinding her down. The show wraps it in a laugh so you never have to sit with it. But the dark truth about Claire isn't hidden in some secret episode. It's right there in the punchline. We didn't ignore it because it was buried. We ignored it because it was funny. And once you see the control as fear instead of cruelty, the whole character reorganizes in front of you. Watch her around the holidays, the obsessive, militant need to make Halloween perfect, to make everything perfect. That's not a woman who loves bossing people around. That's a woman who believes deep down that everything is one unsupervised moment away from falling apart. And the only thing standing between her family and chaos is her, gripping it all with both hands and refusing to let go. And where does a fear like that come from? Look at her mother, Dee Dee, the chaos engine. Dramatic, volatile, unpredictable, the kind of parent who turns every event into an emotional weather system nobody can control. Claire grew up between a father who was ice and a mother who was a storm. And she made a decision probably before she could even name it. I am never going to be out of control like that, I am going to lock everything down. So she became the most controlled person in any room. Not because control feels good, but because the alternative, the chaos she watched growing up, terrifies her. The white knuckles aren't meanness. They're a survivor holding the wheel because she's seen what happens when nobody does. And then the show gives us the proof of everything I've just said, and it almost throws it away, because there are these moments where Claire gets a taste of the old life back, when she steps back into the working world and starts running her father's company, when she throws herself into something real with stakes and ambition and her name on it. Watch her in those stretches. She's electric. She's alive in a way the laundry and the carpool never made her. The fog lifts. You're suddenly looking at the woman she was before the engine lost its track. And it's stunning how different she is when she's allowed to be more than the house manager, which means the tense, exhausting Claire we spent a decade rolling our eyes at wasn't her true self. It was her suffocating. And the show tells you that gently, every time it lets her breathe. There's even the run for office, the moment she reaches for something bigger, something that says, I want to matter out there, not just in here, and she loses. She puts her hand up and asks the world to let her be significant beyond her own kitchen. And the world says, no, go back inside. And she does, with a tight smile. And we laughed at how competitive she got about it when what we were actually watching was a brilliant woman being told one more time that her ambition was cute, but it wasn't going anywhere. So here's the whole tragedy of Claire Dunphy, and it's why I had to make this video. She wasn't the villain of her family's fun. She was a smart, driven, ambitious woman who got handed a life that asked her to shrink. And she spent years refusing to disappear into it, terrified that disappearing was permanent. The control freak we all complained about, that was the sound of someone clawing to stay a whole person inside a role that only wanted part of her. Every schedule she enforced, every detail she gripped, every battle she had to win, that was a woman saying, in the only language she had left, I am still in here. I still count. Don't you dare write me off. And we wrote her off anyway. We called her uptight and we poured her another glass. So go back and watch her now. The next time Claire snaps, overplans, grips too hard, needs to win something small and silly, don't see the control freak. See the executive with no company, the daughter still arguing with her father in her own voice. The woman who gave up a future and is trying with white knuckles and a glass of wine to make sure the trade was worth it. Because here's what I can't stop thinking about. There's a Claire in a lot of families, the mom who's so intense, so controlling, needs to relax. And almost nobody stops to ask what she gave up to be standing in that kitchen, or who she was before she was the one holding everything together. We mistake her grip for her personality. It was never her personality, it was the weight. So let me ask you, was Claire Dunphy the control freak we all said she was, or the most quietly disappointed person in that whole family? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and I want to know if this changed how you see her, or if you think I'm letting her off the hook. And if there's a Claire in your life, maybe ask her what she used to want to be.